So I have a question. So I study neuroscience at university, and one of the questions that is really common in that field is the question of free will. And for me, I see it through the lens of the laws of nature of specifically cause and effect, and how could we deviate from a specific timeline if everything is in a way predetermined?
Yes. We're working with a collective council. There is Plato and Socrates, so we have philosophers here, and I welcome them. We look at the evolution of humanity as dependent upon free will, but it could never be predetermined in such a rigid way in order for that universal law to be present. In other words, when you arrive on this planet in physical form, there are a variety of patterns that you observe collectively that you gather and choose as a part of your becoming. And the reason for this is that you are here to affect collective consciousness. That is both how an individual soul ascends and how consciousness expands. What was before is meant to be met with new perspective. New perspective is valuable currency that energetically charges and expands past experience. But it could never be done in the same light or be predetermined by a soul, and here is why. Your unique preference and ability to choose allows an alchemical process to take place in the individual soul experience. This is where a variety of potentials are considered and chosen such that what you planned before can be created in a different light. The problem is, throughout time, those preferences or choices have slowly been taken away from you. You've only perceived a very narrow set. So you have defaulted to a divine plan that was coded within you time and time again, feeling completely out of control with no choice. But what consciousness conspires to do is to increase the bandwidth of opportunity so that you see, regardless of what was pre-planned, you have a variety of choices to experience what is unfolding. And as you do, you're setting into motion new waveform that others can also step within and choose. So sovereignty in itself is a universal part of your earthly technology. It comes from a very massive viewpoint. If we go into God consciousness, for example, as being the origination point of your soul, it fragmented itself into various perspectives so that it had something to choose, so that it could experience something on earth or in another dimensional plane of reality. What you are choosing every day and every moment is equal to the amount of God consciousness you have access to within your structure. Meaning, if you believe that you have no choice, you are only utilizing a small fraction of that God consciousness. But if you perceive multiple opportunities, you are utilizing God consciousness to its fullest. And God consciousness then must expand into new fragments, perspectives, and aspects. The divine plan that's coded within you could also never be stagnant. And this is where it may get a little confusing, because as a soul, you believe that you picked certain partners at certain times and certain experiences in the body at certain times. But every code within you that revolves around the stars and the planets is offering you also an experience of ascension, not as specific as one partner, but knowing a partner must come and taking into account your preferences and desires to mold and shape that partner into the perfect earthly experience. So if you believe that you don't have a choice, what revolves around your divine plan will manifest in a very limited way. And this is also what we see having taken place in the third dimension. You've been working with a narrow set of criteria manifesting in a very rigid form. But as you acknowledge desires and preferences, source energy hears who you are and what you prefer. And as those energies are activated and aligned with, there's a blending that takes place where the perfect partner shows up that encompasses everything that you need to experience and learn in a very unique package that meets your desires. Now, sometimes even this doesn't turn out in the way that you so desire, but we want to mention this. Your higher self is always orchestrating an outcome. It is your ability to get on board with the most massive perspective that higher self holds that enables your soul to carve out a path of manifestation to your liking. So the amount of free will that you have is equal to the most massive perspective you can hold. The highest amount of consciousness that you have is equal to the amount of potentials that you get to choose from that blend and orchestrate with your divine plan, finding the perfect grounding place upon the earth.